emojis, right? So today we're going to talk about how our words and our language and the stories that we have shape everything that we get in life, including results with our body. So in society as a whole, our language, guys, is working against us. It's inflamed, just like we hear about inflammation in the body. Our language is inflamed and it's crushing our confidence and it's making things feel harder than they need to. But before I get into that, I would love to tell you a story. You guys like to hear a story? Here, Jen. Ed. So, um, mute Jen here. So right out of high school, I was working at a gym in Chicago, working out at a gym, Lifetime Fitness in Chicago. One of the trainers there would see me and he started talking to me and eventually convinced me to do a figure show. If you don't know what figure is, it means less buff than bodybuilding. So today there's like bikini and all sorts of other classes, but back then it was just the two, figure and bodybuilding. So he puts me on the basic like chicken and broccoli diet, and we trained several days a week. There was a 3 month plan before I was going to get to the show. Looking back on this, what a genius business model. Like now he's got a confirmed client for the next at least 3 months. So I worked with him for a couple months and I was starting to lean out and I was starting to see results and I was seeing more muscle and I was getting really excited. Somewhere in that time frame, about a month before my show, I ended up moving downtown Chicago, so farther away from this gym, and I found a new gym. And there was a trainer at this new gym who worked with professionals. So he trained this girl, Beth Horn, who was an author. She was like a pro, won all of these events. So he offered to train me for free. And I was like, dude, sure. Like this professional trainer is going to train me for free. So I fired the trainer I was having to pay. I switched gyms. I switched trainer all mid cycle, which is never a good idea. You always want to see something through. Well, the trainer makes a couple changes to my lifting and my nutrition. And he tells me, you can have one cheat day a week and still get to your goals, still get to your stage weight, your leanness. And I was like, what? I can eat whatever I want for one day a week and I'll be fine. And in my head, I was like, well, this guy works with professionals, so he must know what he's talking about. He wouldn't tell me this if it wasn't true. But you never tell a starving girl who's been eating nothing but chicken, broccoli, and oatmeal for the last 2 months that she can eat whatever she wants one day a week and she won't gain weight. Guys, I took that literally. Can I tell you what I ate in that one day a week? I had burgers, I had fries, I had ice cream, I had chocolate, I had pancakes, I had like literally all the food that I was missing the other days of the week. And I honestly believe that because I was working so hard in other areas, that this wouldn't mess up my progress. Mindset, right? The story that you're telling yourself. Our mindset is literally just the story that we're telling ourselves. So all my rationale went out the window of really knowing better. But this guy was a figure of authority. He trained professionals. He told me it wouldn't be a problem. And so I believed him because really I wanted to believe him. So what do you think happened? I gained weight. I felt like crap. I put on weight and I didn't do the show. I was so embarrassed. There was no way I was going to step out on that stage. And now I'm extremely disappointed in myself, beating myself up because how is everybody looking at me? They're looking at me as a failure. My story was I'm a loser. I'm fat. I suck. Who did I think I was for trying this? I'm not as good as these professionals. I'll never be as good as them. I'm a failure. Now, I'm a failure was already my story. It was already telling myself this story because after high school, I enlisted in the Marine Corps. And 2 weeks before I was supposed to leave, I didn't go. I'm a failure. I started community college and quit a month or two in. I'm a failure. I had no idea what I wanted to be when I grew up. I was so lost. I'm a failure. So these words, which I repeated often, quickly were becoming my story. We choose our words, guys. We choose what we call ourselves or how we describe ourselves, and it's a habit. Your nervous system, it stores memories to better predict the future. That's its job. It's to protect us. And so it needs to predict what's going to happen to protect us and keep us safe. It doesn't like to be surprised. And the more emotionally charged events or memories that we have, the more we hold on to that, the more the nervous system thinks that this is really important. And I'm going to talk more about the nervous system later. So words repeated often become stories, and stories repeated often become our identity. And the strongest force in the human personality is the need to remain consistent with how we see ourselves, with our identity. We defend our identity. This is self-sabotage. The minute we start to move away from I'm a failure, your body's like, oh, that's not you. You're a failure. Let's come back over here. You can't be successful. So we're gonna sabotage. We're gonna quit the program. We're gonna quit the school. We're not gonna go to the Marine Corps. We're gonna be the failure that we know we are. So now my identity is I'm a failure. And I did 2 or 3 figure shows after that. And each time I showed up for myself a little bit less. I cheated a little bit more on my diet. Not because I didn't want to win or I wasn't motivated, because I was motivated. I showed up for all my training sessions. I did most of what I was supposed to do with my diet. I just wasn't as strict. I wasn't as perfect as I was working out with that first trainer. And I lied to myself about it. And that's the key. I ignored extra bites of food or the piece of chocolate or the scoop of ice cream. So when I didn't get results in the end, I didn't understand. I mean, I did everything you told me to. Your plan didn't work or my body isn't responding. It's got to be my hormones. My hormones. So I competed in a few shows, but I never did great because my commitment level wasn't there. And that showed up in my results. So now my belief in myself, my confidence that I could win or be successful was shattered. Every time I didn't show up or I placed somewhere in the middle, close to the bottom, was just more proof that I couldn't do it or wouldn't do it because I'm a failure. Our mindset is simply the story that we tell ourselves. And I repeat myself often on purpose. But these are the things, these concepts we need to hear often. And our mindset, the story that we're telling ourselves, it shapes everything we get in life. And likely you may not even be aware of this because it all happens in our subconscious mind. It's not something that we actively think about. Our beliefs are stored in our subconscious mind and they lead into our actions. So we don't even realize what's shaping our actions every day. The story I was telling myself was that I was a failure and it started to shape my daily behaviors. Did I fail at everything I tried? No. I was a successful coach. I competed in other places. I did. I had successes and wins, but I didn't register the win because it wasn't part of my identity. So my brain didn't focus on that. I downplayed any successes that I had and I focused on my failures. Friends, we get what we focus on. Have you guys ever gone whitewater rafting? No. Well, when you go rafting, they pull you together in the beginning. They put your helmets on, they put your jackets on, and they give you all of the spiels about rowing and paddling and right side and left side and all these things. And they say, if we ever end up in a rapid and we're moving to a place like we're just kind of out of control, I will always point in the positive direction. So wherever I point, that's where you go. Look where you want to go. Stay focused where you want to go, and you get there. Motorcycle riding is the same thing. I used to have a motorcycle, took a class. They're like, look where you want to go. As you're coming through a turn, look the direction that you want the bike to go. I didn't take this lesson when I went mountain biking one time. I was coming around a turn, really sharp turn, going really slow, and there were like logs in the road. So my tire like skidded and literally the bike comes to a stop. Well, the mountain, there was nowhere to put my foot down. The mountain just fell, it was super steep. And I did this and looked down the mountain. And next thing you know, I fell down the mountain. True story. Every time I go mountain biking now, in my head, I'm thinking, say, look where you want to go, look where you want to go, look where you want to go. Because it reminds me, like, don't look down the mountain or you will end up there. So let's go through a few examples here of how your words shape what your subconscious mind is seeing, and then how you respond with your habits and behavior. I'm going to share my screen here. Let me come here. Okay, can you guys see this? So just a couple statements here that I've heard people say in my industry quite often, actually. I gained weight because of menopause. Jen, I'm gonna pick on you. So can you read that out loud for me?
I gained weight because of menopause.
How does that feel to say? And I'm not saying this is true for you in any way, but how does that statement feel to make?
It feels like I don't have control. Like it's
That,
not my choice. There's nothing I could do about it. It just happened.
mhm. Read that.
I gained weight during menopause. I gained some weight during menopause.
Better?
Yeah.
What about now?
I gained, that's much better. I gained some weight.
Yeah. It's like explain the difference in the feeling from I gained weight because of menopause and I gained some weight.
Like some weight doesn't sound like it's the end of the world. Like some weight feels like something that I could do something about.
Yeah. It's that inflammatory language I was talking about. We to want to put the blame somewhere else. Like I did this for 10 years, guys. I've everybody and everything in my life was the reason why my life was such shit. But that takes your power away. And when we don't feel like we have power or control, then we can't do anything about it and nothing changes. So taking the statement from I gained weight because of menopause or because of my hormones or because of uh, my husband leaving me or whatever, like whatever the reason is, to just putting like, hey, I gained some weight. Fact. Now what can I do about it? Jeff, go ahead and read that one.
I don't like vegetables.
How does that feel to say?
Not good because I rather like vegetables, but it's like a global statement. Like I don't like all vegetables, so don't particularly
Yeah,
like it.
that was where I was going next.
Mm,
I don't like all vegetables.
yeah,
So if I don't like all vegetables,
I like some vegetables.
how does that feel to say?
It's more accurate. It feels a lot better.
Yeah. Or
That's very specific.
yeah, when people say like I don't like vegetables, you know, have you really tried all vegetables out there? Because there's a ton of them. And there's a difference between like steaming a vegetable and roasting a vegetable. Like it tastes way yummier when it's roasted. So when we tell our brain like I don't like vegetables, it's like period, end of story. Don't even try. I don't like vegetables.
You're
But
right.
if we open it up a little bit and we're like, all right, I don't like all vegetables. I do like some vegetables and I like them better when I roast them. We're more solution oriented. Jeff, read that one for me.
I'm lazy. I'm lazy sometimes. I can be lazy. I can be active.
Kind of the same concept, right? Like being lazy When we use that as an identity, as a blanket statement, this is who I am, it's defining me. Now, I don't go to the gym because I'm lazy. I don't think about my food on the weekends because I'm lazy. The brain just stops right there and it takes that into all areas of your life. But if we can come back and be like, all right, I'm not lazy as a person. Sometimes I can be lazy. True story. We all can. But also sometimes I can be active. Jen, I'll let you do the last one here.
Nothing seems to work for me.
How does that feel to say?
Like I'm a failure. Something seems to work for me. That's much better. Some things work for me. I can find some things to work for me. I find things to work for me.
I think this makes more sense.
That worked for me, yeah. That feels more like I'm in control again.
Yeah. And all we can ever do is what we can control. We feel stuck, we feel frustrated, we feel overwhelmed, we feel underwater when there's so much that we can't control. When we can take away the fluff and break things down to what's the actual facts here and what can I control, it feels a little less disempowering. Like, okay, I can do something about it. So what I want you to get from that is to see how feelings are attached to the words that we use and how just by changing one or two words, it totally changes the feeling of the statement. Could you guys feel that? Yeah. Some words make you feel more hopeless, that you don't have control, that someone or something else has power over you. It's hard and it feels overwhelming. And some words make it feel lighter, within your control. Now you're more action oriented. Okay, this is the problem. What's my solution? Remember, you get what you focus on. Look where you want to go. We tend to focus on our problems. And how does that feel? It feels hard. It feels overwhelming. I can't deal right with that right now. So we avoid. And this is where coping mechanisms come in. Food, alcohol, drugs, social media, shopping. Yes, I've done all of those. But if we can choose better words, it keeps us more calm out of that stress response, where we're able to focus on the solution, where we can come up with a solution, because it doesn't happen when we're upregulated and stressed. And I'll talk a little bit more about that. Stress is such a ugly word. We hear it a lot, but like, what does it mean? What is even stress? What do you do about it? So I'll give you another example here of like a gym workout. I don't know if either of you have ever tried CrossFit. No. So there's a workout called Karen. They have these named workouts, and Karen is 150 wall balls per time. So like that's the whole workout. 150 reps of one exercise. And that exercise is not fun. It's kind of like a burpee with a ball. So 150 reps of one movement, like that feels daunting. That feels hard. But what about 15 sets of 10? Like, can I handle that better? Or 30 sets of 5? Maybe that feels better to me. Or 10 sets of 10 reps with a short break and then 5 reps. Like, there's different ways to break it down. when we focus on the big picture, the 150 reps, just like when we focus on our problems, it feels hard and daunting and overwhelming. How am I going to do this? And you feel that in the workout. Every rep feels like a chore. It's hard. When you break it down, when you put it in these little chunks, when you focus on one set at a time, it feels way more manageable. I know how to get there. I have a plan, small sets with a break in between. I can do that. So when we say or think, my body is broken, I can't lose weight, nothing ever works for me, I've tried everything, dieting is hard, I don't know what to do, we're adding more stress to our systems, this feeling of hopelessness and helplessness because we can't do anything about it. And how much motivation do you think you'll need to overcome that feeling in order to really make changes to your habits and behavior? Because it's our habits and behavior, the things that we do consistently every day that get us our results. So, are we ready to play a game? I want you to continue to feel how our words impact us. And if you're watching the recording, I want you to play along as well here because we learn by doing. So we all should on ourselves from time to time. I should work out more. I should drink more water. I should call my mom. I should read more. I should go to bed earlier. We all have that should statement. So I want you to think about what your should statement is and write it down. I should what? What's something that you find yourself saying? And then when you have that, let me know. Okay. Jen, we'll start with you. What's your should state?
I should eat better.
How does that feel to say?
It feels like I'm guilt tripping myself, punishing myself.
Yeah. That is a very common statement. Yes, like I hear that all the time from people in the health and fitness space. I'm going to come back to you. We're going to do some work with this, but let's go to Jeff. Jeff, what's your should statement?
I should stop eating all the snacks in the break room.
Mm-hmm. Who puts all the snacks in the break room?
Exactly, right? When they weren't there, I didn't have a problem.
Yeah. How does that feel to say?
I mean, granted, I am shitting on myself, but it's to me at least it's a statement of fact. Like when I wasn't eating bags and like 3 bags of chips a day and whatever cookies are there, I was a lot more fit. So to me, it's a statement of fact. But I mean, not sure.
Yeah. Well, I want you guys to cross out the should, and you're gonna write could instead. So cross out should, write could. And I'm gonna check back in with each of you. So Jen, read your could statement.
I could eat better.
How does that change things?
It says that it gives me a choice, that
Mm,
I'm in control and choose what I want to do.
there's that control word again. I love having choices.
Mm.
Jeff, read your could statement.
I could stop eating all the snacks in the break room, and that feels so much better. It allows for possibility instead of condemnation.
So we're not done yet. We're gonna cross out could, and I would like you to write can. And then Jen, read your can statement.
I can eat better.
Does that change things, better or worse?
Better for sure. Like it's more actionable.
Yeah. Jeff, read your can statement.
Jennifer, I can stop eating all the snacks in the break room, which feels really good because not whereas could was just possibility, this actually gives me the ability.
Mm. So we got one more. When we add a reason for things, we get a 30% more buy-in from our brain. So I want you to add a plus because at the end. So I can eat better because, and add a reason. I can stop eating all the snacks in the break room because, and add a reason. Jen, what's your can plus because statement?
I can eat better because it will make me feel better.
How does that feel to say?
It's kind of inspiring. Like it gives me a purpose.
Love it. Jeff, read your can plus because statement, please.
I can stop eating all the snacks in the break room because they are empty calories or bad for me.
Same, better, worse?
Well, it's like I said, it's I think I buy into it, but I immediately I recently quit smoking again, and this it's just so much, you know, when you add that reason, like if I were to say I can stop smoking because I do not want lung cancer or mouth cancer, that just brings it home more. And I really like that statistic of adding a reason that increases success by 30%. I'm writing it down.
Yeah. And then we can even take these even further where we start to get more specific. Like, what does eating better look like? Like, how do we eat better? Like, we have a reason why it's important to us. Now, what's one thing that we can do to help ourselves eat better? One of the problems in just the fitness space in general is we're very vague with what we want. And so if we say like I want to lose weight or I want to eat better, what does that mean? What does that look like? If I don't know what it looks like, I don't know what to do to get there. And if I don't know what to do to get there, my actions don't change. So I don't see any results. Then I just feel like a failure, but I never really defined what I was trying to go for. So how can I feel like a failure? And then we start the whole needing the coping mechanisms, food, alcohol, all the things. Should creates pressure. I should do this. I should do that. I should do this. It creates pressure for us. And who likes being pressured into things? Pressure is stress. So here I want to talk a little bit more about the nervous system and how that's preventing you from losing weight if that's your goal or seeing change with your body. So we've got two sides to our nervous system. We've got the fight or flight and the rest and digest. Sympathetic, parasympathetic. We are meant to live in the rest and digest most of the time. Popping into the sympathetic side, the fight or flight, when we need to, when there's a stress response, when we almost get in a car accident, when, whatever. But then we're always supposed to come back to the parasympathetic side. The problem today is so many of us are stuck in the sympathetic side, this fight or flight. And there's actually freeze in this side as well, where we get so overwhelmed, we just do nothing. And when your nervous system gets locked in this position, locked in the on position, the physical body starts to break down. Digestion slows. Now we're maybe a little constipated, or we have diarrhea, or we're getting bloated. Our sleep starts to suffer. Starts out with waking up a little bit earlier. Before you know it, you've got insomnia. Hormones get out of balance. The body's stealing resources from all these other places that aren't necessary for survival. And it puts it towards making stress because you're stuck here. And so it's just pumping out these stress chemicals, stress hormones. And eventually it starts running out of resources. And so it's like, you know what? Digestion. We don't need to digest food right now. I've got to make these stress chemicals. We don't need to make babies. I've got to make these stress chemicals. So when our nervous system's out of balance like this, our stress tolerance is lower. Now we can't handle one more thing. I can't make any decisions. I change is hard because change requires energy, and you don't have that. And this takes a huge toll on our mental health, anxiety, depression. Guys, heart disease, digestive issues, autoimmune disorders, metabolic syndrome, obesity, diabetes, asthma, depression. There's a whole list. These are all lifestyle diseases. And they're functions of our bodies starting to physically break down. But it happens slowly over time. So we don't even realize it's happening, or we're degrading and we normalize it at every level. Oh, my sleep's been suffering a little bit. Well, it just becomes the new normal. And so now I forgot what it feels like to sleep for a full 8 hours and wake up feeling super energized and amazing because I never do that. And when we get in this state, and I think they say it takes 2 to 5 years or 2 to 7 years for these physical symptoms to start to show when your body's been that out of balance on the inside. Weight loss doesn't happen here, and your body's not going to heal here. Because again, weight loss takes energy. Changing your habits takes energy, and you don't have that. Trust me, I know. I lived there for 10 years. That was my journey in a place where I was overweight. I had chronic digestive issues, insomnia, brain fog, fatigue, hormone imbalance, and I was horribly depressed. And it started out as mild symptoms like, oh, just a little bit of bloating every once in a while. No big deal. Everyone deals with that. Take a Tums. But seemingly overnight, that turned into severe symptoms where I couldn't function. I was barely keeping it together. Here I am, a CrossFit coach. I was supposed to have all this energy, and I was exhausted, like barely keeping my eyes open, coaching classes. And so I tried to fix me the only way I knew how as a trainer with diet and exercise. I tried all sorts of different nutrition plans. Maybe I should be on keto, take out gluten. I did an all potato diet because I read that that could help fix your digestion, which it did not, by the way. I lasted 2 of the 5 days and it made me totally sick. So 10 years I played this game and nothing much changed. I saw functional medicine doctors, Chinese medicine doctors, all the freaking doctors, and they would all tell me, you're too stressed out. But they didn't tell me what to do about that. It was like the most frustrating thing ever. Like, oh yeah, you're not having a period for 10 years because your body's too stressed out. Okay. What can I do about that? I don't even know what that means. Like, what does that mean you're too stressed out? I didn't feel stressed out. I mean, sure, like I had some financial issues. I hated sitting in traffic. I wished I could vacation more, normal stress stuff, but I didn't feel stressed out. I was even adding in cold plunges and meditation and breathing and more walking and these things that you hear about to help you calm down. It wasn't changing for me. And it didn't change for me until I started focusing on my mindset, the words I was using, the stories I was telling myself. Again, your mindset is just a set of beliefs. It's the stories you tell yourself. It's what you hold to be true. It shapes how you see the world. We don't see the world as it is. We see the world as we perceive it to be. It's how 10 different people can watch a car accident and have 10 different accounts of what happened. And how you see the world shapes what you think, shapes how you feel, which shapes how you act. And these stories and these beliefs, they come from childhood or traumatic events we've had as an adult, or really emotionally charged events passed down from mentors or parents or school teachers that we really admired or trusted. My story became my body's broken and doctors can't fix me. I have digestive issues that won't go away. And talk about imposter syndrome. Here I am, a health coach. I'm a CrossFit coach. I help people lose weight for a living, yet I was fat and I was sick and I couldn't do anything about it. Like that played massive roles in my negative self-talk. Things changed for me when I took my first Enlifted certification, which is a mindset certification, basically kind of a form of therapy. I had traumas in my young adult life that I never fully processed. And between the stress of that, because emotions live in our body, if we don't fully process them, they live in our body and cause physical symptoms. And time doesn't exist to the emotional body. So your body relives it like it just happened yesterday, every day, years later. It was 10, 11 years later. And the minute I thought about it, I started bawling so hard because it felt like it just had happened, even though it was over. Between that and the negative self-talk and the self-hatred I had from that event, plus just earlier on being a kid, between those two things, my nervous system was stuck in the fight or flight, the sympathetic state, where healing doesn't happen and where weight loss doesn't happen. My biggest stressors were me, the way I saw myself, the way I wouldn't forgive myself, the way I talked to myself. Every single day, I'd look in the mirror and think about how fat I was or how ugly I was, or tell myself I wasn't good enough to be a coach or a competitor or whatever. I felt like it was just hopeless to keep trying to heal my body or lose weight because this was just accepted. I'm doomed to never wear a bathing suit again or just hate the way I look in all of my clothes. This is your life now. You guys ever feel like that? That resonate with you? And we get what we focus on. When these are your thoughts, that's what you see in life. You see everywhere you struggle. You see your challenges. You see where you fall short, where you fail, everywhere you aren't good enough. You can't give yourself grace or allow yourself to make a mistake. It's too personal. And that's so overwhelming. And then we freeze because we don't have the resources or the energy or the motivation to do anything about it. Write this down. Thoughts to feelings to actions equal results. I'll say it again. Thoughts to feelings to actions equal results. Your words, your thoughts create how you feel, creates an emotion in us. And we do everything in life for a feeling. We wear clothes because of how they make us feel. We eat food because of how it makes us feel. We choose our friends because of how they make us feel, our partner because of how they make us feel. We do everything in life for a feeling or to avoid a feeling. And how we feel leads into the actions that we take. And it's our actions that get us our results. So thoughts to reality. It starts with our words. It starts with our thoughts. In any given moment, we're telling ourselves a story. I can't. I'm not good enough. I'm lazy. I'm ugly. Nothing ever works for me. I've tried everything. I'm not that kind of person. I'm broken. I have digestive issues. My hormones are out of balance. And that story creates a feeling. It either empowers you and you feel brave and courageous, like you can do it, and that shows up in your actions, or it disempowers you. You feel like a failure. You never succeed. It's hopeless to try. You start and stop and start and stop. Or wish you could start, but never do. Thoughts to feelings to actions equals results. If you're getting this, and you are probably realizing how easy it is to get stuck in this loop. We're going to talk about solutions in a minute. In the health and fitness space, in my industry today, we keep trying to force people to take different actions. Work out more, eat less sugar, don't drink so much, eat more protein, eat more vegetables. But we're not changing the programming or the software, which is our subconscious, our beliefs, our brain. So the success rate is low. Our habits don't stay. We can't just force ourselves to keep taking different action until we change the programming that's leading to the actions. Does that make sense? And also, we're too stressed out to even think about this. It's too hard, it's too overwhelming, it's just too much. And this is exactly why I created the coaching program I have launching in January. And I'm not going to turn this into a selling session. If you want more information, I'd be happy to send it to you. But this program's everything that I needed in my journey. It helps women take away these stressors that we're not even aware of that are affecting our behaviors, so that you can make different decisions, so that you have space to see solutions, so you find the time to do the things that are important to you, So you get through your day feeling like you move the needle forward, not just put out fires all the time or didn't do anything and now you're in the same place again. I call it keep the commitment because right now our biggest problem is we don't follow through. We don't do the things we say we should do or we want to do or going to do. So then we don't get results and we beat ourselves up. It's that cycle. So time for some other solutions. How do we change our thought? How do we start shifting our words? I'm going to give you a couple places where you can start today. Awareness is number one. You guys felt what a difference moving from the should to can plus because felt like. Start to bring awareness to how you're speaking to yourself. What's that voice in your head saying when you look in the mirror, when you're facing a challenge or something at work? The words you're using create a feeling in you, and that affects how you show up. Do you have to go to the grocery store or do you get to go to the grocery store? How does one make you feel versus the other? And on a day where you're feeling deflated or depressed or just sad or whatever, check in with your thoughts. What's the story you're telling yourself that day? And can you shift your perspective to get a different feeling? And if you guys follow me on Instagram or Facebook, like I post a lot about more examples of words and language because I love this stuff. It has made such a difference in the way I coach, in the way my life feels, in the way I handle situations. So I love just sharing it. So awareness is number one. Number two, gratitude. So taking a few minutes every day to find the things that you're grateful for, it shifts your focus and you get what you focus on, your mindset. It actually calms you. So it brings us more into that parasympathetic. When you feel more grateful for what you already have instead of lack for what you don't have, it's an energy. Like attracts like. We draw more of that positive energy to us. Gratitude was actually my gateway drug, guys. My 10 years, I told you I was all of my health issues. I was totally in that victim mentality. I was angry. I was bitter. Like it was just a different person. And gratitude kept coming up. Like I kept hearing about it and I was like, oh, gratitude, that's some hippie shit. That's not for me. But it kept coming up. And so when something keeps coming up in my life, I'm like, all right, I'll listen. And so I did set an alarm on my phone that asked me what I was grateful for every moment. And I put like a heart emoji and a smiley face. So it created a feeling when the alarm went off. And I didn't write it down. I just thought about it. And it started with, I'm grateful for my cat, I'm grateful for my house and my mom and all the things like that. Once I ran out of those things, I was forced to start looking for other things in my life I could be grateful for. And to be honest, there were days where I was like, my stomach hurts. I'm not fixed. I'm not grateful for anything. Like I wanted to just pout, but I made myself think about. And so some days I was grateful that I went on a walk, even though I didn't feel like, or I was grateful that I saw a rose bush or, just small things. And it started to actually help me feel better. I focused less on how much my stomach hurt and all of my problems and that I didn't sleep. And I started to focus more on things that were going right. And it was literally my gateway drug into the mindset work and everything that helped me end up getting on the other side of this. Meditation. So that's another way. Do you guys do any kind of meditation or have you ever tried? So meditation was, Jen, did you want
Oh, I've done it. I've tried it. I haven't stuck to a practice or anything.
yeah, that was me too. Like it was one of those things again that I kept hearing about and I was like, it'd be shit. I can't close my eyes and sit there and not listen to anything. There's too much noise in my head. I get too antsy and my butt hurts and my this hurts and I can't sit here until I did a little more research into the why about it. And literally I got to a place where I was so desperate that I was willing to give it a shot. And so I gave myself like a 30-day challenge of 5-minute meditation. I use the app Insight Timer. There's lots of different apps. That's just the one that I liked. And I actually did notice a difference. Sitting there did get easier. I started to feel more relaxed during the day. And so I kept up with it. And there's still days where I don't do it, but I have it as a tool on days where I do feel extra ramped up, where I now am just very in tune with my body and I can just feel myself super anxious. And I'll force myself to do a meditation that day and never fails. I always feel better afterwards. There's a great quote that says, like, something to the effect of, I meditate for 20 minutes every day, except for the days I don't have time, and then I meditate for an hour. And that's because when we feel like we don't have time, it's because we're stressed. We're stuck in that stress response. And when we're there, we're not as productive. We have trouble focusing. We're not clear. So it takes us longer to do anything. Whereas if we would take the time to do something to work on ourselves to calm us down a little bit, you're way more productive and you can do more in less time. This is how people get time back. It's from actually slowing down, then we become more productive. Breath work works the same way. So learning to use your breath to slow and calm our down. Our breath is the only thing that we can control in the autonomic nervous system. So we can't control digestion, our heart beating, any of that. We can control our breathing. And when we're in more of that sympathetic, turned on place, we breathe short, shallow, shoulders rise. This is where tension builds in the neck and the shoulders. And people like will say, oh, I carry my stress on my shoulders. Yeah, it's because we're breathing, we're using these small muscles that aren't meant to contract and relax us like that. Now they're getting strong and tense. Then we end up like this. And now our digestion suffers. Our pelvic floor is also part of our breathing. So that has issues. So just learning to take deep breaths can help calm us. It helps with digestion. There's so much to breathing. And you can even just Google or go on YouTube, breathing videos. Like there's so many resources these days. It's just knowing what will benefit. And then affirmations. So I used to really poo-poo affirmations, all of this stuff. Honestly, I wanted the diet and the exercise plan that would fix me. The breathing and the meditating and the affirmations, I was like, shit, isn't what I need. That's not going to help me. And actually, that's exactly what I needed. And that's exactly what helped me. So affirmations, like now that I understand how our thoughts shape our reality, they're like planting seeds in the garden of your mind, right? So it's planting seeds of, I am good enough. I can do it. I'm strong. I'm confident. I'm whatever. When I work with clients in one-on-one, we come up with certain affirmations or statements that actually have proof from their own personal stories, and they're even more powerful. So I know I mentioned these things before when I was talking about my journey, and I said that they didn't help. And so I want to use an onion analogy here because each of us is in a different place in our healing or weight loss journey. And I dug myself really deep, 10 years deep into that hole. So I had a lot of layers on top of my onion. And so I needed to peel a lot of that away before I started to truly feel better. So no matter where you are, all of these things will help. You just may need more individualized work along with these things to help peel more layers away of that onion to get to a true healing, to get your nervous system to finally actually shift back into that rest and digest place. So if you don't think it's working, if it doesn't fix you right away, just know that all of these things have a place in your journey. And you need to believe that because that's what's going to keep you taking the action. And if you do need more individualized work, let's chat because that's how I work with clients. So I've worked with clients in a couple different ways, one-on-one sessions or a group coaching program. And I would love to just chat about what's the best option for you if you're feeling a bit stuck and don't know where to go. Or you have stories that you want help to work through. So before we end here, I just want to play another quick game. You guys have your can plus because statement from the first game. I'm going to add a word to that. So, Jen, go ahead and read your can plus because one more time for me.
I can eat better because it will make me feel better.
Cool. And we liked that. Add a maybe in there somewhere. It doesn't have to be totally grammar
Yeah.
correct.
I can eat better because maybe it will make me feel better.
What did that do to your can plus because statement?
Made me not feel very confident about my success, my opportunity for success.
Made it worse. Jeff, read your can plus because statement.
I can stop eating all the snacks in the break room because they are empty calories and bad for me.
Add a hopefully in there somewhere.
Hopefully, I can stop eating all the snacks in the break room because they are empty calories, bad for me.
Better or worse?
Worse, right?
You tell me. How does it make you
No,
feel?
it's wishful thinking. Like hopefully, like it went from a definitive statement that I can do this, I'm empowered, it's well within my ability, to hopefully, yeah.
Yeah. So there's words we call soft talk words in our language. Words, I'll say them here. You can choose to write them down. I'm also going to send you. I have a nice little PDF with these words. I'm going to give you a challenge at the end. So the words are might, guess, maybe, could, almost like, sort of, kind of, probably, feels like, should, perhaps, one day, hopefully, possibly, potentially, and the mother of all soft talk words, try. So these words undermine our confidence, right? They create indecision. Jeff, did you want to say something?
Could you repeat the last one? I'm sorry.
Yeah, try.
Try.
Yeah. So they they create a lack of clarity, a lack of focus, overwhelm, and it gives us an out. I didn't say I would go to the gym. I said I would try to go to the gym. So it makes us feel better about not doing something because we don't want to feel like we failed if we say we're going to do it and then we don't follow through. But then it just creates confusion in the brain and we don't end up following through. We need to be more direct with what we say. I'm not going to try to go to the gym or I'm not going to try to eat better. I'm going to go to the gym or I'm going to eat better. And if I don't do it, I'm not a failure. I'm going to give myself grace. I'm going to take a look at what happened and fix it for the next time. So the challenge is to write these words on a piece of paper, or like I said, I'm going to email you a PDF. Put this piece of paper up somewhere where you're going to see it every day. So in the morning, and you're by your mirror where you brush your teeth, somewhere where you're going to see it every day, so that it starts to create awareness for these words in your brain. And then you're just going to take them out of your language. You're going to notice where you're using them, how it's making you feel, and you're going to remove it. So you catch yourself saying, I'll probably come with you next weekend. What does that mean? Are you coming or not? So just start to remove them from your language and see how much this affects your confidence, how much you start saying what you're going to do and then following through. And be careful, like I said, of if you don't follow through, instead of feeling like a failure, learn the lesson. What didn't work about that? Oh, I made a bigger statement than I'm actually ready to commit to. Okay, so then say what you want, say what you can commit to, say what you will commit to. So, like I said, awareness is the first step to change anything, guys. And my whole goal with this webinar was just to open your eyes to something that you may not have thought about before. Empower you with the idea that if you aren't where you want to be, with your body, with your habits, with your financial status, relationships. Like, if you want these things to change, if what you've been doing consistently isn't working, look at your words. What underlying stories do you have about yourself? Because either those stories and those words are empowering you, which lead to one set of actions, or they're disempowering you, which leads to another. And how cool is that, that we could change our words and get ourselves to take better, different action? So I hope you got a lot out of this webinar. Please feel free to reach out, email, Instagram, Facebook, if you have questions or you want to chat. Even if you just want to comment about anything that we talked about or discuss it a little bit further. I love this stuff, guys. It is seriously what gives my whole 10-year struggle, my whole 10-year journey, its purpose, is that now I get to share this with others and shorten their journeys. That's kind of my mission. You guys have any questions or any comments you want to share?
Thank you so much, Jennifer. I took
You're
copious
welcome.
notes.
I love it's pink too.
Thank you so much. Very insightful.
You're very welcome. Very welcome. Awesome. Guys, have a great rest of your evening and hopefully we'll chat soon.
Thank you.
Much love.
Bye-bye.